I'm a little puzzled here. You see, the previous generation Mark III Skoda Octavia was a lovely car. It had well-appointed interiors, great looks, and the powertrains that did the job that was expected from it. It was loved by automotive gurus and consumers throughout the globe. But was it an energetic, was it an enthusiastic car? Could I be overly attached to one? Not so much. And that was a problem that the third generation Skoda Octavia faced. But what we have here today is the all-new fourth generation Octavia. Of course, it's large, it's luxurious, and it's swanky. But I'm here to find out if I'm going to shed a tear if Skoda takes it away. Of course, it looks a lot more modern with this new face that it receives. The headlamps, they've gone sleeker and they replace the split arrangements that were there on the previous generation. Those new DRLs, well, they will remind you of a certain BMW model. The butterfly grille, that has grown in size, and altogether it's very neat and very corporate-like. Then there are these tight shut lines and strong and prominent creases which retain the overall silhouette of the car that it was. This, however, is an all-new generation, which means all the panels are new. The car, in fact, has grown larger in size. It's 19mm longer and 15mm wider. But the headline figure is the wheelbase, which is basically the distance between both the wheels. That stands at 2680mm. The Hyundai Elantra, which is the sole competition to the Octavia, sits at 2700mm, which is slightly higher. Well, mesmerized by these wheels, are you? These Pulsarback 17-inch wheels are exclusive to the L&K trim, and they sure are very eye-catchy, but I'm not sure if they go with the overall understated design of the Octavia. Now moving to the rear of the car, this, in my personal opinion, is the best looking angle of it, and that is largely because of the coupe-like design that it gets. It also gets these sleeker tail lamps which have a very nice and intricate detailing to them, and the Skoda badging that is spread across the tailgate. Very interestingly, Skoda has not made use of fake exhaust tips which are very commonly used in this segment and other executive sedans. And behind this beautiful lift-back mechanism for the boot that it gets is a cargo space of 600 liters, which is more than enough than what you would require. As you can see, hi Yash, what do you think of the boot? It's good. Okay, so Yash here is the official boot reviewer and he approves of it. There are, however, two small niggles that this boot has. The first being, this loading lip is quite high, and the second, when you put the seats down, it doesn't form a flat. But other than that, it's quite usable and very practical. Alright, inside the cabin of this all-new Skoda Octavia. Now this is a new layout here, and it is, at the very first glance, very impressive. The first thing that will strike your eye, obviously, is this dashboard layout. It's got 3 layers to it, and all 3 of them use distinctive materials. Very premium and very plush. Then there's a lot of tech inside, starting with this 10-inch infotainment system that is fairly crisp and intuitive to use. I really like how the home and menu buttons are placed there permanently, makes navigation that much more easier. But throughout the day's use, we did find a few screens to lag a little bit. But that is alright, because what you get is a 600-watt Canton speaker system that lets you indulge in your favorite tracks, and it really needs a special mention. Now moving down, you have these physical buttons for the most commonly used menu settings. Again, a very good touch. This is the first Skoda to get this shift-by-wire transmission. Again, it's a very nice addition, but it has those mechanical clicks that you can hear when you're operating it, and that does not feel as premium as the rest of the cabin. Fit and finish levels are extremely good. Now moving to the driver's side of things, you can sit yourself pretty nice and low. The seat is extremely comfortable. I really like the suede materials that are used here, and special mention again to the shoulder support. It makes driving that much more enjoyable. What I would have really liked though are 2 buttons here to cool my seats. Yep, the front seats get electronic adjustment and memory function, but they don't get ventilation. Also, a button here is missing to open the sunroof because there is none. The next thing to grab your attention in the driver's view is, of course, this 2-spoke steering wheel. Very sporty, very well finished, also gets paddle shifting. Then there's that virtual cockpit behind the steering wheel. Lots of information, but it's very easy to read, and again, it's highly customizable. You get tweaked input methods on the steering wheel, and overall, it's a very nice cabin to be in. Now, two very innovative features that I really like is first, this touch-sensitive scroll button for the volume, which lets you slide on the rocker to increase or decrease the volume, and then is the touch-sensitive cabin light operation. It just makes everything so much special in this cabin. Now, a lot of you want to know how does the Octavia fare in the back seat test. And immediately you can tell that this driving seat is set to my driving position and my knees are almost scraping the seat that's in front, which isn't expected from a car of this class or caliber. Having said that, the seat itself is quite comfortable. There is adequate under-thigh support and enough space under the front seat to tuck in my feet. There are also AC vents here and a charging point and a handrest, which is quite difficult to pull down, but it does have cup holders and a little place to put my phone or a mobile phone. There are, however, a few clever touches for the rear passengers. There is this integrated rear blinds and a nifty little pocket here to put your phone in. But having said that, this dark headliner and the absence of a sunroof does make me feel a little claustrophobic. But it's quite easy to settle yourself in for a relaxed, plush and comfortable ride. Yes, it's plush and yes, it's soft. And that might be a good thing for the passengers that are sitting in the back. But for a keen driver, I would have loved a little bit more enthusiasm from its driving dynamics. The engine at 187 bhp and 400 Nm of torque has the potency to impress you, but then this transmission is a tad bit slow to your reactions. And then there is that body roll. Now, it's not excessive as an SUV, but it limits the amount of fun that you can have. And by no means is it a corner carver. Yes, the steering feedback does feel accurate and it is very predictable, but then there is that slight hint of body roll that limits the amount of fun that you can have with it, which ultimately means that the all-new Skoda Octavia likes to be driven in a very serrated manner, and it isn't a car that you can hammer on the racetrack. Of course, why would you? This is a corporate lounge and it likes to be driven in a very relaxed manner. If you need a car for the racetrack, you should go buy the VRS, which is India bound next year. The Mark IV Skoda Octavia, well, this is like that college student who's recently graduated and landed in an MNC. It's got the right skill sets to appeal to the more mature and premium audience, offering them a sedan that's well built, luxurious, and can be easily mistaken as a business class lounge. With this transformation though, it's lost the street cred that it once earned. That, with the elevated price tag of 25 to 30 lakhs, makes it a very questionable proposition. In my opinion, the new Octavia has now evolved into a weekday workhorse rather than the weekend car for those liberating drives. And that could be quite concerning for the enthusiasts and the petrol heads like us.